Shalom to my brothers and my sisters here in Babylon who have to deal with this wicked place, and all praise to the Most High Yahweh plus His Son the Messiah. I have a simple question to black people here in America. I'm just very curious about something. No matter if you're a black woman or a black man, do you acknowledge or understand that you are under attack, and your perpetrators are these so-called white people here in America, plus these other heathen nations? But do you know you are public enemy number one? Last year I and a few others did a story about this woman, Gloria Bambo, who was hung and lynched by some rednecks down in Texas about 7 months ago. Very little investigation, no arrests, law enforcement till this day has ruled her death a suicide. Fortunately, the wicked illiterate rednecks has the same disease some of you other worshippers of social media have, I have to upload what I record syndrome. The rednecks uploaded a video of them actually stringing up the black woman somewhere in a basement. And nothing has happened in over 7 months from this specific situation. Then there is this story that just happened recently in North Carolina. A pregnant mother was kidnapped, murdered and stuffed in a suitcase by 2 so-called white people. Fortunately, these 2 Edomites were picked up by law enforcement and charged with the murder of this daughter of Zion. If you are a black person listening to this video, you better start really paying attention on what is going on around you.
New developments in a really upsetting story. There's a couple sitting in the Wake County Jail accused of killing a pregnant woman and then stuffing her body in a suitcase.
Now, CBS 17's Liz Ortiz live in Wake County with what we know about the suspects. Liz?
Well, Bill and Randy, arrest warrants in this case show the victim, Brittany Smith, was 6 months pregnant with a boy. Now, Wake County officials have not released a motive in this killing, but the 2 suspects are due in court at 9 this morning, and that is when we hope to learn more details in this case. Now, take a look. Authorities arrested this couple, 37-year-old Thomas Johnson and his girlfriend, 24-year-old Emily Trevathan. The sheriff wouldn't say how the suspects knew the victim, Brittany Smith. Smith was last seen a week ago today, and investigators say she was strangled. Arrest warrants also show her body was found stuffed in a purple suitcase near the Neuse River in Raleigh.
And it's very emotional. Imagine that. As a young person, young lady, regardless of what type of life, how life is for any of us. You know, no one deserves to have their life taken.
Now, Sheriff Baker went on to say his thoughts and prayers are with Smith's family at this time. Johnston and Trevathan are charged with murder of an unborn child, and concealment of a body. We're live in Wake County. Liz Ortiz, CBS 17 News.
So-called white people here in America has silently been given the go-ahead to murder black people who are here stuck on this wicked evil continent. I feel the hatred spewing from these devil's spirit when I am around them in these stores, and it is growing rapidly. The body of 15-year-old Quawan Bobby Charles was found in a muddy sugarcane field in Louisiana last November, his face disfigured, days after his family had reported him missing. Janet Irvin, 37, was arrested on charges of failure to report a missing child and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. This young man lost his life 3 months ago, most likely by the hands of this so-called white woman, and probably her 17-year-old son was involved. Why can't you goddamn so-called white people leave black people alone? The most disturbing part of this evil story is that, first, law enforcement in Louisiana took 3 months for this woman to be arrested. She could have bailed out of the country easily in that 90 days. Second, they are only charging her with contributing to the delinquency of a minor and failure to report a missing child, not murder. Can you fathom that? Quawan drowned in ankle-deep waters in the goddamn fields. Obvious this witch is lying through her eroded yellow teeth. And also disgusting is that law enforcement did not once contact the media when he was reported missing by the family. We already know that if black people was involved with this, and the shoe was on the other foot, automatic sitting in a chair with a bright light over that black person being interrogated within 24 hours. That is what will happen if any white boy is missing from a black family home in Louisiana. But they took 3 months to arrest her, and not even for murder.
More than 3 months after a 15-year-old Quawan Charles died in Louisiana, one of the last people to see him alive is now under arrest. Janet Irvin faces a felony charge of failure to report a missing child along with contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Now, video shows Irvin picking up Kawan from his father's home. This was on October 30th, the day his parents reported him missing. Irvin has told the family's investigators that Kawan did drugs at her home, then left, claiming he was going to kill himself. His body was found 4 days later in ankle-deep water in a sugarcane ditch. The autopsy and toxicology report shows that he drowned with a small amount of alcohol and THC in his system. The local sheriff says the death investigation is ongoing. The Charles family attorney says he expects people will start coming forward to explain how Kawan died.
I'm confident that my office has put together an extremely strong case against Mrs. Irvin.
We believe that other folks that have information now will see the walls closing in, and I believe either for guilt or self-preservation, we'll begin to talk.
Now, we have been unable to reach Irvin for comment on this story. Her bail has not been set, and she is still in custody at this hour. Remember, we covered this story from the very beginning. It was troubling from the very start. And now to hear that she told his family's attorneys that she did drugs with him and her son, and Kawan, and then left, and he claimed he was going to kill himself. You didn't call the family, you don't call the police, and now you're the last person. The story is, there's something very smelly about the story, and I hope the family is right when they say maybe more people will come forward, because people know more to this story than what we're hearing right now.
I beg to differ, Miss Bedwench Gail King. Why should it take other people to come forward for this Caucasian woman to be charged for murder? Her and her devilish son picked him up from home, then he's found dead, his face looking like Emmett Till. Really, these so-called white people really despise black people, and have a very bad hatred of black people from Washington, D.C., to their next-door neighbor. Ask Amy Cooper, whose charges were dropped for calling 911 giving a false complaint being harassed by a black man. They are showing black people with this story in Black History Month. You ain't worth shit. You can complain and that's it. Do not expect justice for your oppressors' crimes. Just stories after stories this month involving so-called white people humiliating black people. Like this other story at a middle school in Wisconsin 2 weeks ago. A teacher came up with a homework assignment asking the students, how would they punish a slave if that slave said they did not have a slave master? That is some wicked evil shit, no doubt about it.
The Sun Prairie School District apologizing for, quote, a grave error in judgment. This after some middle school students were asked how they would punish a disrespectful slave as part of a social studies lesson. In an apology letter, the district says the group of teachers who came up with this assignment is now on administrative leave.
It's concerning for me. I have 4 black children, black boys that I'm raising in the Sun Prairie School District. And so to see this, on Black History Month.
The district says it will review its entire social studies curriculum and meet with black community leaders on ways it can move forward.
Who would do that? Well, Satan would do that, the goddamn devil. If that story don't convince you it is in their blood and spirit that they hate black people, well, let's talk about numbers to show proof how much they hate black people. Remember, numbers don't lie. Country singer Morgan Wallen was caught on camera using racial slurs, but hey, that's nothing new. So-called white people use racial slurs every day. But after this incident was reported all over social media and the news, his album sales went up dramatically. If you have any common sense at all, what does that tell you? That majority of the white people in America very much appreciated him saying those racial slurs, to the point that they made his wallet fatter than what it was. Again, numbers don't lie.
At least in the short term, Morgan Wallen's album sales and music streams have seen no ill effects after he was recorded using a racial slur. Last week, Wallen was pulled from country radio, dropped from his label, and banned from any major country music awards this year. Despite that, his album earned a top spot for the 4th straight week on Billboard's all-genre albums chart. Wallen also saw his sales jump by more than 100% and his streams increase by 67%. In a statement, Wallen apologized for shouting the slur, but he reportedly has not responded to an offer from the Nashville chapter of the NAACP to discuss race.
Morgan Wallen makes racial slurs that disrespect black people. Nick Cannon and others make comments about white people, and they lose everything. These patterns has existed for decades with so-called white people, but the depressing part is, you so-called black people still want to be friends with them, you still want to date their men and women and have babies by them, and experience other disgusting things with them. Why? These damn demons are out here killing your people for fun, and that's cool with you. Meet Shanae Porter. Her home was broken into by two white men in North Carolina a week ago, and when she called the police to come get these homeless men out of her house, the police supported the intruders instead of her.
It got me a little rough. What's up, girl? Was it you?
Yeah, that's my apartment.
This is not her apartment.
Yes, the fuck it is. You're tripping.
Okay, what apartment number is this? It's 4B. I don't. What are you talking about?
Do you know your apartment number?
Yeah, I'm shading. This is
What the fuck you doing?
What's our apartment number?
Is somebody else in there too? Yo, get them out my house. Get out my house. Get out my house.
Ma'am, stop. What apartment number? I want you to tell me what the apartment number is.
Man, arrest them now. Arrest them now. Arrest them. I don't even fucking know you. Get the fuck out of my house. My cat shit is here. Where's my cat? No, look at the door. You broke in the door. You don't have a key to live here. You're just chilling on the couch. Get off of my shit! You're eating your food? Like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? Yo, and he's really questioning them like it's a fucking, like anything. Can you get these fucking people out of my house? Now! It is two whole men in there. Now! Get out! Like, what the fuck? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? Talking about who Shanique. Who Shanique? That means he been all in my shit, bro. Who the fuck are these people? Like, I swear to God, like, this complex right here.
All day yesterday.
And I'm so glad, because what if they would have came in here, why the fuck I was in here? Yes. And I'm by myself. I'm glad I stayed at your house, bro. I'm so glad I stayed at your house. I'm so fucking glad I stayed at your house.
Am I convincing you so-called black people with these stories that these so-called white people hate you with a passion? Remember, these stories are all from the month of February, and are days apart from each other. Their hatred of you is embroiled in their mind. Damion Shepherd and his mother, Monica Shepherd, live in North Carolina also. And in May of 2020, a police officer brought himself and a mob of white people to their home looking to lynch some black people over a girl's disappearance. Wow. Black Wall Street 2.0.
Back on the night of May 3rd near Wilmington, North Carolina, a neighbor's home surveillance camera records more than a dozen white men with flashlights and guns outside Monica Shepherd's home. She and her son Damien were inside.
They were trying to get into the house.
In this surveillance video, you can barely hear Miss Shepherd yelling at them to leave. Investigators say the group of men were led by Jordan Keita, an off-duty deputy from a neighboring county who was in uniform and was looking for a missing teenage girl. Damien says the group attempted to enter the home thinking the girl was inside.
At some point, I was thinking in my head, back in my head, they have guns the whole time, so I have to watch everything I do.
Concerned neighbors called 911. These are pictures of the neighbors who came out as deputies arrived. Although the men, including Keita, were still on scene being interviewed by law enforcement, no arrests were made even after Miss Shepherd and her son say they felt terrorized in their own home.
Someone came onto our property and broke the law.
5 days later, misdemeanor.
There are stories after stories showing you so-called black people that white people in America think you are horrible people and prefer you dead. In the past 2 years, at least 20 black people have been found lynched in a tree or at minimal tortured. You Jakes and Eves better get your shit together and get your head out of your asses. These so-called white people are not your friends and do not love you. Get away from them like your life depended on it, or become a victim laying up in a morgue. Shalom.